Andrey.
Yeah, thank you, dear friends, dear experts. Hello, dear friends, dear experts. Thank you for the opportunity to say some words about the situation in Ukraine. The situation in Ukraine, it's really hot. You know, we overlive really hard times, and as we could see on the video, we overlived a really revolution where really more than 100 people were killed, and it was a really scary. It was a really scary time on the Maidan. And you know, about presidential election, so none of these candidates I don't like, none of them. And I think that this time we can't say about who will win and who will go to the second tour. You know, Ukraine overlives a historical time when every candidate should show their love to Ukraine. You know, as Mikhailo Saakashvili said, that every politician who want to make a policy of a country when he lives should love this country and not to go for this country as for work. And if it will be so, the country will prosper, and it will be prosperity in the country in all branches. But if to say about these candidates, I think that Tygibko, I don't see the Tygibko as a politician. He's a businessman. Yes, he sold his bank for 700,000 millions, and yes, he has some money for making some steps in policy. Rabinovich, he's also a businessman. He had a football club, so he doesn't have an experience to build a new country. You know, we are living in a time when we need a politician who will build a new country. Because for 22 years of Ukrainian independence, we haven't had a really one strict policy of all who ruled the country. So we need a person who will have a really big experience, and also a big experience not only in the country but all over the world. So as for me, I think that Mr. Poroshenko can be the good candidate for president.
Okay, thank you.
I think that Communist Party is one of the most destructive party in Ukraine. You know, there are some people who will vote for them, but with each year, the quantity of these people are less and less. And yes, you know, at that time we have some voting in our home Rada, and the communists don't vote for any of the laws and any of the propositions. So you know, in our country, the Communist Party should be totally banned, I think.
Okay. And how do you think the position of youth people? How they will somebody vote for Communist Party?
Among youth, I think that youth won't vote for the communists. You know, we are a young generation. We have totally new views on policy, on how to make this policy in our country. You know, I think that these people who will vote for communists, they were really punished by the government and by the previous how to say by the previous government and president. They have been punished, totally punished, and they think that when we lived in the 70s, the 80s, the life was really cool. We have the social dotations and so on and so on. So they were punished, and they can't imagine that they can live better than they lived in USSR. So that's why the Communist Party will have some votes, but these votes will be not very high.
Thank you.
About Yarosh, I don't know much about this person, so I can't give some attitude to the private sector and for Yarosh as well. But I say things, and I can say that our policy, in our country and foreign policy, should be based only on diplomacy. And I think that private sector has some radical statements and radical movements and some steps in their policy. I think that Ukraine is a country that should be diplomatical one, not based on some radical steps, you know. And that time we should do everything we can to resolve the problem with Russia. It's the first step that Ukraine has to do. Yeah, nobody knew about Dmitry Yarosh before the revolution and before the struggles. You know, the private sector, they had this policy. So we can say that it was their time when they could tell about themselves. Yeah, these statements that they were.
Have a choice.
Yeah, that they were pronounced when on the stage. You know, people should have a spirit, and private sector had the statements for these strong statements. Yeah, for Ukrainian struggle and for Ukrainian independence, to give this spirit for the people. So they. As Steve Jobs, not as Bill Gates said, they were on the right time and the right place. You know, Oleg Leshko is a non-ordinary person. He's more populist than politician, I think. And yes, he gathered some group of people together, and from the stage he pronounced some funny things and some. Maybe not so funny, but radical thing. But it seems this thing seems to be a little bit funny as for me. And yes, I know some people from my acquaintance that support Leshko and say that he is a good politician. But I think that he is more populist. But I think that somebody supports him and gives some money for his development.
Andrey, what do you think?
I think that everything was already said. What to add? I think it's a time for Ukraine not to go in this election struggle between every candidate. So I say once more that we are living at that time one of the hardest time in Ukrainian history. Really so. And when we see how one politician says that, yes, we will go into the election, and another year we are also going for the election, and the parties decided who will go from this or that parties. Guys, Ukraine is under the one step for the war, from the war with Russia, and we are speaking about elections. So, I don't want that. I don't want people, who are watching us at that time, think that Ukraine will not change. And Ukraine is not changing. It's not so. I think that the people who are dying in Maidan, they died not to change one evil for another. It's not so. So we should change the whole system, this bureaucracy system in Ukraine. And people will not change one evil to another. And that's what I want to say.